holy and sacred, half of them were pagan traditions that the church adapted from the pagan environment they were in. And we take them and we run with them and we let them separate us. And we hold on to our rules. Jesus came to get rid of them, and we want them, and they separate us. We're separated by our checklist. We like checklist. I do not smoke. I do not drink. I tithe. I go to church. We like a checklist. Because at the end of the day, it's very easy for me to say, did I do A, B, C, D? Well, yes, I did. Star for me, on my way to heaven. See, a little chart. Okay, some people have potty charts. I have a heaven chart. I'm just kidding. So at the end of the day, it's really hard at the end of the day to say, did I love the Lord my God with all my heart today? Did I love my neighbor as myself? Who's my neighbor? How do I love my neighbor? Do I love myself? Do I love God? Do my actions say I love Him? That's where we get without our checklist. This is a scary place. The checklist makes it easier to raise children. You do not drink, you do not smoke, you do not have sex. You will go blind and die. Thus saith the Lord. And most of us in the room know that that is not true because we made it. And we still see. I got 20/20 people. But it's really hard to look at your child and say, you know, honestly, you just need to love people. And even when you mess up, God's going to love you. And even when you mess up, I'm going to love you. Because that's scary. It feels a lot better to say, no, 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 no. Guilt, 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 guilt. And that's how we were all raised. We like the checklist. It makes sense to us. This freedom that Jesus is offering us, this freedom, 1 Corinthians 6:12, it says, everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible for me, but I will not be mastered by anything. And what that says is this: you can do anything you want. Everything's permissible for you, but not everything's beneficial. Everything's permissible, but don't be mastered by anything. That's hard to teach a child. You don't have sex because it can master you. It can take over your life, honey. It's a lot easier to say, you'll go blind and die. We like our rules. We like our checklist. It makes it easy for us, and it makes us feel safe. But the rules and the checklist separate us because someone's always not going to measure up. Someone's always going to break the rules. Someone's always going to miss a step on the checklist. And where does that leave them? Out. Not in our churches. They're out. You couldn't follow our checklist. You couldn't follow our rules. You're out. Jesus came to bring everybody in. I think we're you're going to like this one. Well, these next two. I think that we're separated because we like to judge others. We say we don't want to be judged. We don't like judgment. I cannot stand people who are judgmental. We like to be judgmental. Because if I can convince myself that you are worse off than me, then I'm okay. The book, The Shack, it got all this hoopla around it, and people stopped carrying it, then they carried it, and then they said don't read it, and then they said read it, and I read it before all that started. My father-in-law reads every book coming and going. He is not a religious reader. He reads whatever's on the best-selling list. So he read The Shack. 2 years ago I had back surgery. He goes, that's a really cool book. You should read it. So I read it before the hoopla, and then I heard the hoopla and I thought, did people read that book? Because I don't understand the hoopla. But anyway, there was this one chapter, and I'm laying there on my back. I had back surgery 2 years ago, and I could not sit up or stand for more than 20 minutes at a time. I had to lay flat. I could not bend at the waist for a month. And I had 2 small children, and so my friend Brianna stepped in and made a calendar. And I had someone come to my house every other day and bring food. Someone came to my house every other day and sat with me and visited. And someone came to my house every day and picked my kids up and took them somewhere fun for a whole month.
Wow.
Okay, that's a friend.
Wow.
That's a friend. And so I'm laying there, on my couch, and I read this book, and the chapter, Here Comes the Judge, for those of you that have read it, it was really intriguing to me because the judge, wisdom, is Sophie, which is my daughter's name, and the main character's name is Mac, which is my son's name. And so I was like all into this. Sophie and Mac are having a conversation. Anyway, Sophie is this judge, and she's convincing Mac that he likes to judge people and he should judge people. And he's like, no, I don't. And she says this: judging requires that you think yourself superior over the one you judge. I'm going to read that again. Judging requires that you think yourself superior over the one you judge. And I'm laying there on my back. I got nowhere to go, and I think, I don't know if that's true. Think myself superior. I don't know if I like that. And I'm thinking over. And then I'm thinking, okay, let's take an example. If a girl walks in a room, and I think in my head, oh, that's bad hair, then that means I think I've got good hair. Or that means I think I can fix my hair and she can't. That means that I think all of a sudden I'm hairstylist of the year and she needs to come visit me because all of a sudden I think myself superior. And I thought, oh, it's true. Every time you pass a judgment on someone, whether it be what they're wearing, what they're saying, where they've come from, whatever it is, and we pass them all day long, every day, you have decided that you are better than them. And that is arrogant. And that's what we do. And judgment separates. Because if suddenly I'm better than you, we're not on the same playing field. We can't talk. We can't communicate because I am up here and you are down here. We're not equals anymore. And let me remind you of Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. I'm going back to my friend Joan. I call her by her first name because we're best friends. BFF, me and Joan Chittister. She doesn't know it, but I'm going to tell her one day. There was a statement in here that rocked my world. This is what she says. It is arrogance to the utmost to insist that other people shape their lives to make mine comfortable. It is arrogance unabashed to think that God must do the same. I'll read it again. It is arrogance to the utmost to insist that other people shape their lives to make mine comfortable. I want you to think about how often we do that. I don't like the way you're acting. Why? Because it bothers me. Why? It's getting on my nerves. Why? I don't know, but you need to stop. Why? Because it's bothering me. What's that with me? You're missing the point. I'm bothered. You need to change to make me happy. Why? Because I'm me. And that's when you go, oh, that is arrogant. Yeah, it is. And it is arrogance unabashed to think that God must do the same. How many times do we want to question and we want to say, I don't think you should do it that way, God. Really? Really? I think that when there's a judgment call, we should go with God. You know what I'm saying? When we're wondering who's making the right decision, let's err on the side of God. I think that we are not united because of our rules, and we're not united because of our checklist, and we're not united because of judgment, and we're not united because of our arrogance. There's another quote from Joan that every summer, my family, all of us, me, Corey, Sophie, Matt, Corey's mom and dad, my brother and his wife go to a beach house. And it's fun. But by Tuesday, I now know how my mother could be a better mother, what's wrong with my father, and what's wrong with their relationship, and what's wrong with my mother-in-law. And I can trace it back, really, to how it started with her family. And then there's my brother and his wife, and oh, Lord, when they have kids, they'll know. And, I mean, this is only Tuesday. And one year, before I went to the beach, Joan came in and gave me a kicking. And this is what it says. Love demands that we allow the people in our lives to be who they are and grow as they can. Love demands that we allow the people in our lives to be who they are and grow as they can. We can't speed the process up for them. We can't move them along on a continuum. We can't move them along on their journey. And better yet, it's not my job and it's not my place. That was the best beach trip ever. When I went and decided I'm just going to love them for who they are. And you know what? That's all we want. I just want somebody to love me for who I am, where I'm at right now, not who I want to be 5 years from now, not who I was 5 years ago, who I am